Yeah, so to start with, we're going to have each panelist to have a self-intro and tell a little bit their stories. So we'll start with Helen.
Hi, I'm Helen. I go to Yuan, and I'm going to be at Stanford University next year. And throughout high school and middle school, I've done like many math and science competitions, including like USIMO and like Siemens and Intel. I conducted research at multiple universities, including Stanford University. And for Intel, my research project was through a program at Stanford called Simmer. I volunteer at Hidden Villa, which is a local organic farm, and I lead tours for little kids and their parents. And I also play volleyball and badminton, and I play guitar and I sing.
Thank you, Helen. Let's go for Eugene.
Hi, I'm Eugene. I'm going to be a freshman at MIT next year. Through high school, I've done a lot of math contests, science contests too, as you can see. Yeah.
Now we go for Hairuo.
Hello, I'm Hairuo. So I'm currently a senior at Mission Jose High School. I'm going to MIT next year. And in high school, I was more of a engineering person, so I actually founded our school's model rocket team. And I also was on the debate team and also swam for varsity swimming.
So this is Michael.
I'm Michael. I went to Palo Alto High School. I'm going to be a junior at Princeton next year. In high school, I was involved in science competitions, such as the Science Olympiad and Science Bowl. And I also played golf on the varsity team and also played tournaments outside. Now at Princeton, I'm involved on the club soccer team. And I'm also going to be an RA, and I'm also involved on the entrepreneurship club.
Yep. Thank you, Michael. So we'll have Michael's mom, Mrs. Tengma. So she's going to share her story, as a parent.
My name is Jackie Yu, and I have 2 kids. So myself is a chemist. I got my PhD from MIT. And I worked as a product marketing manager for Synopsys before I quit my job in 2007. I have 2 kids, and my daughter, Katerina, she graduated from Pali High School in 2007, and she graduated from Harvard in 2011. And she is a 3rd-year medical student at UCSF, and she's going to get married in 2 weeks. And so my son, Michael, and he is a rising 3rd-year student at Princeton.
Thank you, Jackie. So all of the students are really the top in this area. And during their high school year, they have been attending various science and math competitions. Now we're going to discuss a little more in this topic. We'll start with Helen. So Helen is the Intel Science Talent Search Panelist and the Siemens Panelist as well. So we're going to have Helen to discuss how she won in those competitions.
So for Siemens, in sophomore year, I was a semi-finalist, and I did my research with a partner, and we did a math and computer science project. And then junior year, I conducted my research at Stanford University, and it was bioinformatics, and we did pediatrics, and that was what got us into Siemens finalist. And then for senior year, I did a project on my own through the Simmer program at Stanford, and I got the Intel semi-finalist. And for Intel and Siemens, the main difference was that Intel cares a lot more about the person. It's you as a person. Whereas Siemens, they just focus on your research. So.
Okay, thank you, Helen. So Eugene has attended numerous math contacts during his high school years, and would like to have Eugene to discuss how he competed in those math. What did he do to win?
So I guess I started doing math contests when I was in 6th grade. And I think the thing that was most important for me is that I got involved with a lot of other kids in the area who do math contests. So I think as part of like a larger community, it's a lot easier to like, well, first of all, you push yourself. Second of all, you get to meet new people, people who are smarter than you. So I guess I thought that was pretty valuable. So as you can see, I've done quite a few math contests. Yeah, a lot of my friends also do math contests. I think being part of the community just like helps you continue to do things that you want to do.
Okay. Hairuo discussed his Siemens contest. He's made a Siemens semi-finalist.
Okay, so for this previous year, my Siemens project was actually done as part of an internship with this PhD from Caltech. So I was actually able to do something on fiber optics where we developed this touch sensor. And it was really neat because we actually didn't have an actual lab, but since we had access to this equipment, we could actually set up in my own garage. So I did all the research in my garage, which is pretty nice. Actually, got some finalists. So yeah, that's essentially how I got into that program.
So Michael was the president of a high school science team. So he led the team to be the second place in the Northern California Science Olympiad and the seventh place in the nation. So Michael, can you discuss a little about you?
Yeah, so the competitions I did are a little different from what the other panelists did in that these are very much team competitions, and it's very important for the whole team to succeed. And you don't really advance individually, you only advance along with your teammates. So I think for me it was very important that I had a lot of friends who were doing this, and that part of it was that they were very excited and I was also very excited about the competition, and that motivated me to contribute and also to eventually get involved and also lead the team. And I guess what a lot of people are wondering about is how you actually go from never participated to like winning these competitions and doing very well. And I think for me, it was more of like a consistent effort that I put in, because as long as you put in maybe 30 minutes a day or consistent practice, you'll become better at a lot of these things than all those people who haven't practiced. And although it might seem like a really long journey, it's actually based on just very small steps.
Parents' perspective on this subject. So Jackie, what did you do to encourage your kids to attend the competition?
Okay, Michael has an interest in science from early on. Is that too long? So when he was very young, we support him by borrowing books for him, and also I subscribe many kinds of magazines related to science, Scientific American, American Scientist, and Discovery, and a variety of different things. And he became interested in reading these magazines from like fifth, sixth grade, and through middle school. So from this process, he accumulated a pretty good foundation, understanding, and knowledge in science. But he was not really prepared for competition. So when he got into high school, so I talked to him and I said, Michael, you should go to Science Olympiad Club, join the science club. He said, yeah, Mom, I'm going to go. So I remind him a few times. The next time I asked him, Michael, how about Science Olympiad Club? And he said, oh, I missed because they had an entrance exam and I forgot to sign on. I missed the exam. So I talked to him and said, well, so he told me they already formed the team. So I talked to him and I said, if you're interested in science, you should talk to the team leader and to see whether you can be put on the backup team. So he did, and he was on the backup team. And he went to the competition as a backup team, not in the real competition team. And he did reasonably well. I think he got like 6th place in regional competition. And then this process led him to realize that it's not that difficult. The bar is not that high. So if you're interested and if you participate, you have a chance to win. And also one of his very good friends, and he was prepared early, and he got like state #1. So Michael was very excited for him and about this, and he said, oh, he can win, I can win too. So next year, he started to prepare in summer instead of after the team formed. So he got started earlier, and he did really well in the second year, and that motivated him to do more. So he said, I want to be team leader. I want to be the captain to lead the team to win. So I think the small success built a larger one. And also, even he didn't do well, and still encourage them and to help them to build the confidence and be prepared.
I think the people here probably will be very interested in, have questions about how do they get into the top universities in the country. So we'll start with Helen. So how did you, how did you make yourself stand out in the, all the applicants? And do you feel like you have to break so-called Asian stereotype in order to stand out?
All my awards already show on the transcript. So I spent most of my time on my essays talking about things that they can never really figure out about me, like my volunteering, my love for music, and just anything that doesn't have to do what they can already see from my SAT scores and my research skills, I guess. I don't know, but you can't to stand out, I guess you have to show that you're really well-rounded and that you don't just focus on one aspect and that you're willing to explore outside of what you're interested in. So I think that's what helps a lot of other people stand out as well.
Like Helen said, my awards are pretty strong and they stand by themselves, and so I think what was important for me is to in my essay show that more than just a set of numbers on a sheet of paper, you actually have a personality. And I think this is something that a lot of people don't really take into account in the college admissions process. I think the admissions committees aren't really trying to find the 1,000 smartest people that send in applications. I think they're trying to build a coherent class. So they don't just want people who are really, really smart. They also want people who are a personality, and so the college class isn't just a bunch of people who stay in the rooms and study all night. So I think it was important in my essays and application interviews just to talk about my hobbies, things besides competitions, things that I like to do, to show that like Helen said, I'm more well-rounded than just doing that.
Well, like I said, I think essays definitely played a very significant part because they really show you the qualitative, the subjective part of the applicants. But besides that, I think another thing that helped me stand out is that I had engineering experience. I built rockets in high school. And the thing about most applicants these days is that they're very good at taking tests. You have people who qualify for the AMI, who qualify for the USAFO, all these sort of things, but they're just tests. They don't really show you, they don't really show the college admissions boards that they can actually build things. And that's very important. In real life, you're not taking tests, right? In jobs, you're not taking tests. You're building things, you're trying to solve problems. So being able to show that I had this engineering background, that I could actually design something and create it and go through this entire troubleshooting process and create something that works, that that demonstrates rational thoughts. That was a really important thing that I felt really helped me stand out. Whereas most people just have really good test scores.
Thank you. So Michael, you have been in the college for a couple of years, so maybe you can also discuss, your college life, what do you do differently, to prepare you better for the college life?
So not the same question about the stereotype?
You can talk about both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I think one part of the Asian stereotype is that we all do the science and math competitions, and we're all really good at those, but we don't really do anything else. So I think to some degree that there is some truth in that, for example, all of us have done science and math competitions, and that just makes it very hard to stand out when you are Chinese and then you also did science and math competitions, because they see all these other people who've done these competitions. So when you are like a freshman in high school or 8th grade and you're trying to consider what you want to do, there might be some kind of pressure to maybe think outside of science and math and like try to like shape yourself in a way that's not the same way as other people. And I think that in some way that's a good thing to try to expand yourself, but then also you shouldn't like try to mold yourself to someone else's standards and like just try to fit into someone else's ideas of what you should be. But that being said, I think like science and math are really great opportunities. There are lots of different competitions and opportunities for you to grow. So I think you should just keep both in mind. As for me in college, one thing that I think I would have prepared better would be to like have better like speaking skills and better writing skills, because those aren't really things that you develop through science. And I found that oftentimes I was behind my classmates in those different areas. And yeah, I would have tried to participate more in, for example, like debate or like things that would have improved my writing.
Okay, so we're going to have a Jackie to discuss parents' roles as a college.
I want to give some specific experience, but also I want to share some of the philosophies. And for specific things, and to me and for my two kids, I feel like emphasis on reading is very, very important from early on. I think this is more important than anything else. And from their very young age, I borrow books for them, and I buy them magazines, and I read books to them, and also we discuss books with them. So I feel like if their reading ability is strong, and they can read for fun, and they can read for inquiry, learning new information, and also they can read for problem solving. So all the good skill later on they gain, and reading is a very, very strong, important foundation. So I see a lot of kids are like building vocabulary from classes and taking all kinds of remedial class. But if you emphasize reading from early on, a lot of that problem will be elevated. So reading is very, very important. And especially in college, a large part of the learning is through reading. You can't really just count on your professor to teach you everything, and you have to rely on your own reading to ask questions and find the answers. So reading is very important. And the second part is to help them to find their own voice, to find their own true interest. So I have two kids who have very different interests. Katerina is very much interested in community service, and Michael is very much interested in science and sports. And also they have very different personality. So as a mom, I have to recognize they're different person. I shouldn't have the same expectations for two different personality and allow them to explore their own paths. So this part is very important. I think we all have the urge to have a very high standard and to measure up our kids to the best kids, and we want them to have all the best quality another kid has. But we have to recognize each person is different. And so Michael is very different from Katerina, and I have to struggle a lot and also have to really remind myself to be very patient. He has his time scale, and he has his own personality, and he has his own interest. So that's the second one I want to share. And also the third one I want to share is in college application as well as build a person. Academic is just one quadrant of the whole pie. So it's very important to be mindful, to be aware that I think Dr. Wei gave an excellent point. So when the Ivy League school, they are looking for a wholehearted person. They are looking for somebody who is interested in service. Those are not fixed things. Those are the inner quality of a person. So when we when we teach the kids, we have to be mindful, and we have to incorporate the process for them to develop in all these areas. So specifically, in addition to academic development, their spiritual awareness and spiritual growth is very important. Their emotional intelligence is very important. And also their physical strength, their health is very important. So I think from their grow up, I'm trying to learn all these different areas and also create the forum, the platform for them to develop in those areas. For example, if they go to an actual curriculum activity, those are the things you emphasize on.
Thank you, Jackie. So now I think we'll take some time to get questions from audience. So is there any...
This question is for Jackie. So you just talked about how you helped Michael to find his interest. I want to learn more, learn more from you. What do you do to help either find Michael or your daughter's interest, or etc.?
So for my daughter, she's very involved in public service. And for me, this is a growth process too. So what is their strengths and how do they express their strengths? So I am as worried as any other parents because I see my daughter, she's a good person, she's a very good student, but she didn't really show any specific unique strengths early on. And it's not like she's a piano star or she's a math genius. So for me, I have to be patient and let her to explore. So she played piano, she didn't like it, she dropped it. And then she played violin, she was okay, but she didn't show any talent. And then she swam, and she was good enough to be average. And then she said, I want to do cross country in high school. So I said, okay, how about just keep on swimming, just make it better to make the team. And she said, Mom, you said it's important to explore in life. I want to explore this, you should support me. So I said, okay. So I support her. She ran a cross-country team, and she was always in junior varsity team because she was never good enough to go to the varsity team. So to me, help them to develop means to be patient and allow them to do the things they want to do. And then she was interested in community service. She becomes a club president. And she spends tremendous of time preparing the activity and finding the service opportunity. And doing this, I was nervous. I said, okay, everybody is doing this and you should just put enough time and also spend something else which people will more emphasize, will more appreciate when you apply for college. And she said, Mom, that's not genuine. She said, I'm interested in this and I want to do this. So when I observed her, and she was very devoted, and she pulls big parties, and she invites speakers to educate students, and she does things which develop herself and develop her peers, and also from this process, she built organization skill and leadership skill, and also interacting with others, compromise, all these good skills. So when I see her growth, I realize she should be allowed to do what she wants to do. And finally, it pays off too.
Thank you very much, Jackie. I have a second question. Go ahead. Okay. So you have also talked about you try to encourage your kids' reading interest. My kids, I sometimes they're from their books they have reading. I have to sometimes their interest very narrow. Do you have any kind of recommendation on how I can somehow broaden their their book their interest to more other type of book? Because like my daughter, she's in 5th grade. She's her all the books is focused on dragon, etc. Cat, dog, etc. I didn't want her to read other books as well. What can I do to encourage her to read other books?
Actually, I had similar concerns and worries too. And what I did is I talked to librarian, I talked to their teacher, and what I got was just let them to enjoy whatever they read. And when they read, they absorb information, but gently encourage them. So what I did is I always talk to the librarian there. And so I go with them to the library, and I tell the librarian, these are the books they're interested. And I ask them, is there something similar to this, but a little bit more challenge? And also related this, so they may be not aware that they might be interested. So just don't jump too big a step, and don't make them too alert. And just gently recommend them something in addition to this, and go to the next step. And every small step is a big step.
That's very good. Thank you so much.
How do you connect what you are doing with what you are going to be in the future? Who wants to go?
So my passion, I guess, is to use my skills to help other people that don't have the same opportunities as I have. So like throughout high school, I've conducted research, and all of the research that I've done have helped like a third party. Like for example, one of my research projects at Stanford University helped little kids, like newborn babies who have a disease called necrotizing enterocolitis. So it helps those specific babies. And then my other project helps just the general like neurological diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And it's just my goal of like helping others. Like I can throughout with college, like engineering and like computer science, I can use my skills to even go further with research or just helping other kids and other like people who like don't have the same research opportunities or same education.
So I would say I don't think I have one particular direction I've set on. I think right now what I've been trying to do is like broaden out a little bit, try to learn about different things, because I'm sure there's a lot more to the world than like math and science. So I think that's what I've been trying to do. I think it's important to like develop, I think, basic problem solving skills, like general problem solving skills, because that's like a meta skill that's pretty useful in like anything. So I think math contests are a good way to do that.
I always had an interest in lots of things, and that included science, it included literature, reading, writing, all this. So as I grew older, I kind of realized that, you know, these things aren't so different. Everything's connected. When you go out in life and when you want to build something or change the world, you can't do that by just being good at one thing, by being good at science or math or writing. You got to be good at all those things. All the scientists that are famous, Einstein, Feynman, Oppenheimer, they're good scientists and they're very good at humanities. Science is a tool. Science is a tool to solve society's problems, and you can't identify society's problems if you don't have humanities. So that's how I sort of relate what I'm learning right now to my goals in the future. I want to build something for the world. I want to change things, and I think that's a pretty good goal. So I try to broaden my interests. I try to connect everything, you know, see history, okay, how does that connect to science? How does science connect to literature? How are all these things connected, and how I can use that to, you know, create something new. That's something.
I think it's not always clear exactly how what you do now is going to help you in the future in your career. And I guess some of the things I do might not have any effect. Like, I like to cook, but maybe I'm not going to be a professional cook. So that's really not going to like help me in my future career. But I feel like it's okay to do these things where like they don't have any direct impact on like what you actually do in the future. Because I think the point of a lot of these activities is not necessarily to gain the skills that you need for like a future job. Like a lot of the things I learned to do science bowl, I'll never have to use again because they're just like little tidbits of facts. But I think what I did gain from science bowl and the science competitions, and also from golf, are like some of the like study skills that are very important, and also like some like the ways of thinking about setting goals and like improving yourself that are very useful. So I think it's more important to like to understand like how or like to gain like the character from doing these activities, not necessarily like the exact skills that you learn from each of these things.
How you handle the time, how is the time management, and you guys don't look normal because normal student actually cannot do so many things, and if a regular student have only limited time, how do we choose the activities?
I manage my time because I never procrastinate. Like, I know it's kind of weird. Like, all my friends think I'm really weird because of that. But it's just like I never do anything last minute because it just kind of it just kind of scares me to know that there's something that's supposed to be due but I haven't done it yet. So because of that, that's like helped me a lot with time management because I never not have things done. So, and I also sleep as like much as possible, which helps my sanity. So that helps a lot as well. Yeah, because I know a lot of my friends, they spend all their time, like all their nights studying, but then in the end, they end up being sad people, and then they don't enjoy what they're doing.
Helen, how many hours do you sleep every day?
At least 8. And then I take naps too.
It's kind of dying.
So I think time management is not exactly my greatest strength.
So that you finished high school in 3 years?
I think if you saw my grades, you wouldn't really be talking about that. So perhaps I'm not the best person to ask this question to, but I think another thing that was brought up is what activities someone should do if, like, obviously you're not going to be able to do everything. You're limited to 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. So I think a lot of times people will say, like, you know, do what you love to do, find something you like to do. And I think this is like a really good piece of advice because first of all, you'll be happier while you're doing that. And second of all, it's definitely easier to, you know, get good at something, get better at something that you actually enjoy doing. And even like if it's not directly applicable to, I don't know, something you're doing in school or your college application, it's still helpful to, you know, develop the skill of getting good at things. So.
Okay, well, I don't think we're all that special as students, but I think it's fairly easy to actually, you know, get good grades and also do lots of extracurriculars. It's just a matter of time management, and you know, don't spend so much time on Facebook. Don't spend all your time tweeting and texting. You know, don't procrastinate. Right, as soon as you get something, you know, try to finish it. And if you have to have a really large project, don't wait until the last second. Just break it off in smaller chunks. It's a lot easier that way, and you'll stay a lot more sane. So it's really not that hard to do it. You just have to force yourself to, you know, take it one small step at a time and don't wait until the last minute.
Yeah, I think if you just count the number of hours in a day, there is enough time to do everything. So for example, the times that I was most time pressed was during golf season. So I would, after school, I'd practice 3 hours of golf. And then I'd come back, eat dinner, and then be like 7 or 8 by that time. But then at that point you have about like 3 hours to do homework, which is, it's not like a small amount of time either. So I feel like there definitely is enough time in the day to do all those things that you want to do. It's just that you don't really have time to play video games, which is also what I did, but but like you just don't have very much time to waste basically. And also, as for how do you manage having lots of activities and like which ones do you choose, I think for most of us what happens is that we're involved in a lot of things in middle school and also freshman year. And then we like to do some things better than others, so we naturally want to spend more time. And then as we start spending more time on certain things, we have to prune away others. So for example, I played soccer and golf in high school. I like soccer a lot, but I didn't have enough time to play both soccer and golf, so I had to quit soccer. So I guess that's like a simple example of just things naturally falling away in like your core interest in it.